Hello everyone, GGG has been working hard at the game, so we are not 1 month into the season, right? Almost 1 month in, but not exactly 1 month in, and they have delivered the fourth major patch. Let's take a look at it. I was very cross with them yesterday for allowing the frames to drop and scams being allowed, but yeah, sadly I did get scammed pretty hard. Yeah, that's what you get for trading fast and trusting in GGG. But anyway, let's get into the patch notes. So, as you might, probably agree with me, Runes of Aldur has been a little bit bland. I specifically mentioned this in the stream yesterday about the expedition Atlas 3 not existing. I guess I should have asked for something else. Now we do have an expedition Atlas 3, and yeah, a lot of improvements. Let's take a look, right? Yeah, so there are 24 points in there, 12 minors and 12 notables, some notables being multiple choice ones. So if you did the quest line, you go to Ruins of King's March, you say Glennon, you beat the bosses, etc. That will give you all the points already. So I did just check this. I logged in, and sure enough, I had all 24 points ready to allocate. I couldn't be quite certain as to which biome to choose. I think in the end I went with grass, I believe. There was some nice bonus in the Atlas, so I went for grass. Feel free to disagree because expeditions are a little bit weird. I'm not very sure if increased rare monsters etc. would be very helpful there, so I went for. We had something good for grass. I remember that much. I don't remember what it was, but yeah. So we have a new currency. So one of those notables allows Pharaoh to sell you an item called Liquid Verisium. That is for like 600 Verisium. So that is going to get us some use out of our stockpile Verisium. I'm sitting on like 80,000, I think, without having done expedition much. I'm sure those of you that are farming expedition are sitting on hundreds of thousands that played the people that played actively. So what does it do? It's a little bit confusing. Let me try to explain. What it does is, guys, so you find yourself a Verisium remnant, right? Let's say like 6 runes, but it gives you like blazing flux, crackling flux. Those are, on a good day you sell them for like 15 exalted, so they are not really worth very much. But 6 runes has a lot of potential, right? You could get, I'm not very sure, but I think you can get a perfect exalted orb or perfect chaos orb, something like that. There are annulment orbs. I mean, there is stuff that's more valuable, right? So what you do is you use the liquid verisium on the runic remnant, and it will start a random 6 rune encounter. So it's going to select the maximum amount of runes. So however many your remnant has, it will start a random encounter. It will start an encounter with a random reward. So this is actually very, very useful for like 9 or 8, high runes. For example, with 9 runes, you can get 3 orbs of annulment, which I have gotten many times by now, sadly. Yeah, like 5 or 6 times. And 9 rune encounters are not very common. And that is the worst possible reward, right? 9 runes goes up to a mirror. And it must be, extremely rare, but still, theoretically, it can go all the way up to a mirror. And even if you don't have a mirror, you can have like 10 divines, I believe, 3 perfect chaos orbs. I mean, there is some really good stuff in 9 runes. So 3 orbs of annulment, I believe, the absolute minimum. So you get yourself a 9 rune one with 3 annulment, bang, immediate slap liquid verisium on it. So the way that it goes is, you will see the remnant, right? And on top of the remnant, there will be the icon for liquid verisium, just like, cryptic keys, exalted orbs for strong boxes, etc. And you will click on it, and it will bypass everything, and it will start the encounter with that many runes. So this is something that you should keep in your inventory, I would say, if you are doing expeditions. Even if you are not doing expeditions, but randomly encounter it in your map, still I think it's worth sacrificing one inventory slot over, I would say. Yeah. Expeditions, if you are doing expeditions, I would say it's a must, right? It's a very good thing, right? Because you constantly get like 9 or 8 runes. Not very common, but you still get them. And most of the time the rewards would be sadly, very sad. Like 6 exalted, 10 exalted. And those can drop a lot of valuable stuff. So definitely use it on them. And 600 Verisium is kind of like nothing at this point. I'm not very sure, like 50 exalted maybe, something like that. So definitely worth carrying over with you. Grand expeditions. So guys, one of the things that's not, I think, mentioned here, grand expeditions have an icon over their heads in the overhead map now, right? That's it. That is pretty good. Normally you would have to pay attention to the, the map icon with the flaps, the wings, whatever you call them, right? And this time you just have the icon there. That's pretty great. I like it. It's a nice quality of life. Grand expeditions now have 1 to 2 expedition map modifiers applied to the area, and now we have a few new more grand expedition modifiers. Increased number of runic monster markers. Runic monsters are duplicated. Area contains X additional remnants. Yeah, I did try it a few times. Yeah, it's better now, of course. Remnants now randomly choose. This is, I think, just pass. So this is, very technical. No need. Again, same deal. Chance for runic monsters from expedition and grand expeditions to be rare now correctly scales with increase to monster rarity and rare chance. Okay, good. Aberration, okay. Cold resistances of Uhtred and Vorana have been reduced. That's, of course, harmful to those of us that utilize Rakiata. But, Rakiata and cold damage, I suppose. So this doesn't do anything to me because I'm dealing mostly fire. Yeah. But I suppose it's helpful to the people that don't use it. Oh, it did say it. I'm sorry. Added an icon to the end game map to indicate which ocean maps are grand expeditions. Yeah, that's, I would say, very useful. Thaumaturgic fluxes now count towards any flux. Okay. Now appear in the fluxes section. Let's go. Okay, now we have some more changes. After killing Atsiri, the Red Queen, her vault now has a chance to drop one of 4 new Orb of Sacrifice currency items. These currencies upgrade corrupted enchantments on items at the cost of randomly removing an explicit modifier. So what this does is, you have a corrupted item, but, the corruption is good, but the item has a few not so very good modifiers, like, I don't know, poison duration reduced, ignite duration reduced, shock duration reduced, I don't know, maybe some low tier of, evasion, etc., right? And you use this item and it will remove a random modifier and significantly upgrade what the corruption has, what the corruption is doing to your item. So obviously you could miss and remove something very vital and, end up, wasting your item. But yeah, I think it should be used on items with like 1 or 2 not very good modifiers and hope that, it hits that. But obviously you want to have a really good corruption. So, they have shared the video, and in the video, I believe the item has a life corruption of something like 40, right? And when you use this item on that, the life corruption goes up to 140, right? So the upgrade is very serious. And also, if you have an item that is twice corrupted, you use this on it, and you will need to use multiples, but it will upgrade both corruptions. That's pretty good. But as I said, for example, let's say you have a staff with like +7, right? It can remove +7 and making the item worthless. So, it's more gambling. As I said, I think the best use for these items would be to use like on an item with at least 1 and probably like 2 not very good modifiers, and you pray that it hits that. It can enhance very powerful corruptions like +1 skills. For example, you have something with +fire skills, right? The corruption is +fire skills, and you use this item and you will get +2 fire skills, right? It's pretty good. But yeah, has to hit the bad one. Some arbiter nerfs are present. A number of pinnacle bosses have had their resistance lowered as they are unintentional too high. So again, this will hurt people that utilize Rakiatas, because those resistances were actually our weapon. If they had like 50 resistances, right, and instead of dealing half damage, we would deal 150% damage. So our damage the expected damage would triple thanks to Rakiatas. And now if that resistance is say like 20%, it's gonna be 80% will get converted into 120%. So the bonus from 200% would go down to 50%. But yeah, it is what it is. Reduce the damage of the lightly serpents burning ground in the vessel. Okay. I mean, I haven't done. Dorian's refined formula Atlas Master option now has Grand Expeditions have only 5 explosives. This overrides the maximum of 1 for expeditions in these maps. Okay, I mean, I would definitely go Jado for expeditions because of the 10% chance to reroll the reward. So, for example, guys, every remnant that you do, there is a 10% chance that you reroll it. You never see this, and the rarer outcome is kept. So, you just get more from the Verisium remnants, right? So I don't think that is rivaled. So Jado is, I would say, better, but yeah, it's an option. Okay. Okay, unique items that grant skills now use the lowest level of the skill that you meet the requirements have when equipped, scaling up to a maximum described level on the item as you meet the skill requirements. As an example, the Life Spring unique wand that grants level 20 mana drain is now able to be equipped at level 1, which will grant level 1 mana drain. So the rest of the stats also scale down, but yeah, now you do not have to search for a specific level Life Sprig. So for example, guys, Life Sprig is a very famous starter wand, and you would dual wield it, and you would need a low level one to get the skills. Now you don't need a low level one. Any random garbage Life Sprig would do. That's pretty nice, right? Something nice. As a result of the above change, some units have had a level requirement added. Sacred Flame, 55. Eventide Petals, I don't remember what that is, 55. And Coil of the Storm, yeah, very famous since season 1, right? The Auto Bomber Amulet is 55 now. We have a new glove. They have teased this in last week's video when they introduced 053. Yeah. The glove is here. There is also a staff or polearm sort of staff is coming. Yeah, when he is fully empowered, it can drop. It's an interesting item. It allows you to see weaknesses. You eat their souls. When you eat their souls, you deal additional damage. Or you do something, yeah. Add the checkbox to hide you have died while you are dead. Okay. Holding Alt on a currency item or a stackable fragment will now show the count of that currency fragment within the same inventory. Okay, that's nice. Okay, so the items that make items are modifiable, socket bound stuff are not able to be socketed on corrupted or sanctified items. Yeah. The boss, there is a worm guy that burrows, and his tail takes a lot of spots, right? I mean, when the fight goes long, it takes a lot of space. So that guy's tail has been amputated. Okay. Bug fixes. So that is the bug fix that I talked to you about in the short. Scam has been prevented again, hopefully. So what those people were doing was, and I'm not very sure about this, but if they would list an item, the item would sell, or maybe they would withdraw the item, and then they would put the item up again in the same slot with a different price. So for example, what happened to me was the guy was listing it from nothing unidentified at 21 divine, and then he would immediately retract it, or make someone buy it. I'm not sure about that detail, and he would then list it for 211. You move there, right? It's a highly contested item, so you want to buy it as quickly as possible. I went there and I clicked on it, yeah, and after that I have realized it has happened probably 4 times to me over the course of me buying those. Yeah, so about 800 divines scammed. Yeah, pretty raw about it. Fix the bugs where rune socket is rune on sockets granted by my would not count. Okay. Atlas passive skills were not applying. So this is, I don't know how many fixes to Abyssal Depths, but yeah, we have another. I guess better late than never. Fix the bug, okay. Okay. Fix the bug where the additional reward grants boss was rewarding rare with 2 modifiers. Oh, okay. Rare items with 2 modifiers. Now it rewards the tier 5 items, tier 5 rare item with 4 modifiers. Okay, I guess that's good, but yeah. Oh, hold up. Let me see this. Fix the bug where the ritual forethought proliferation modifier that grants increased tribute for seconds. Yeah, I have noticed this. Increased tribute for sacrifice monsters was instead increasing the amount of tribute needed to buy favors. So, you know, when I was doing Rite of the Nameless, I was seeing that I'm like, why does the amount of tribute that's required to buy favors has been increasing? So I guess that was the reason. Okay. So, you know, that kind of means if you are farming ritual, now the stuff will be easier to defer and easier to buy. Okay. All right, so some minor stuff, lots of. Ooh, that's interesting. So, you know, it doesn't hurt me, but it's still interesting. Fix the bug where Legacy of Ruby would incorrectly display as Legacy of Quicksilver in Spanish. Oh, the people that played the game in Spanish did get pseudo scammed here. Because, guys, Legacy of Ruby, if my memory serves, is the one that gives you 65 resistance and plus 5 max 5 fire resistance, right? Legacy of Quicksilver, on the other hand, is, I believe, the one with 45 or 30% move speed. So, you know, that's much more valuable. So the Quicksilver is the movement speed one, right? And the Ruby is the fire resistance one. So that is one of the worst ones. The flat resistances, you know, fire, cold, and lightning are the worst ones, I would say, alongside with probably Amethyst, which is the chaos resistance. And Quicksilver is one of the most popular. Imagine, guys, you are playing the game in Spanish and you search for, you know, Legacy of Quicksilver, and you know you get instead Legacy of Ruby. Ooh, wow! I mean, that's a pretty nasty error. I wonder what the words for, you know. I guess the words in Spanish should be similar to make that mistake, because yeah, it's pretty annoying, I would say. Anyway, so that's 054. It does look pretty good. Yeah, this time they didn't tease for a 055, but I think the game is in a good place right now, finally. And yeah, I'll see you guys in another.